Welcome to the Spirit-Centered Business Podcast, where we blend the spiritual with the practical for supernatural results. Now, here is your host, Bralynn Newby.
Hello there. Welcome to Spirit-Centered Business. I am back with Mark Scherer of the Encompass Life and the Quantum Leap Technique, and I've had a chance now to go through the basics course with Michelle Spires, and you guys are just going to absolutely love what these guys are doing. And I literally just gave Mark permission to call me on my languaging. So as we have this conversation, if that happens, I'm like, okay, all right. I surrender my need to be right because I want to move forward in life, and I don't want to sit here stuck in my ignorance just because I'm doing, speaking incorrectly or at a subpar level. How about that? Is that a good way to explain it, Mark?
Yeah, awesome. But like another way of saying it is, I choose to speak what I choose to have coming into existence. Instead of positive, negative, incorrectly, not correct, and all that stuff. What I really choose to have coming into existence in my life, and I only speak what I love coming in.
Correct. I choose to speak what I do want to see in the world rather than what I don't want to see. I choose to.
But see, you're back to want
But
and don't.
okay, all right, I see that.
I
I
only
saw
speak.
both. I said both sides instead of
Uh,
only the one.
and even the word want. Remember, the Lord is my shepherd; I shall not
Lack.
want.
Yeah.
Yeah. Languaging is such an interesting. It's just so interesting how our subconscious picks up exactly. It has no discernment. It just whatever we speak, the subconscious takes direction and has that occur for us.
Mm-hmm.
So if I say I want something, the word want means desire without ever having.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can get really close to having it, and then it disappears. It's like, oh, I remember when I started in Compass Life, I really wanted Compass Life to be, and I'm using want consciously.
Mm-hmm.
I really wanted Encompass Life to grow, and I really wanted this to be successful. And this is the first time I've done a business like this. All the other business I've done have been um, like you shake hands, good old buddies type of business. Let's shake hands. Let's go lunch. Let's go deer hunting. Let's go fishing. Let's do business together. So very personable interactions, and everything we're doing here is based on the internet, and people getting to know us through the internet too.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really interesting to go from that type of business to this type of a business, and I could feel whenever it started to really manifest. It was one night. I remember I was laying in bed and I could hear the conversations of want, have, want, have, want, have, want, have, want, have, want, have, like a
Oh.
like a battle. Excuse me, like a battle going on inside me.
Uh-huh.
And when that was going on, I had some really violent detoxing, like like vomiting and diarrhea
Wow.
for 1 hour, just like really, really intense. And then
Wow.
about 2 weeks later, I went to another level of that. And the same thing, want, have, want, have, want, have. Want. It's like just clicking in my head. It's weird. And the next morning, I woke up both times and I had so much more mental clarity. It was amazing. And I could feel
So
all kind of toxicity coming out of my body
what do you think triggered that toxic release?
because I was beginning to really, really trust and believe.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, the wanting in scriptures, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. I believe that's in there for a reason. And I believe the chemical cocktail we have in the state of want is toxic to our system.
Interesting. Yeah.
And I've had other people who've gone through the classes have done the same thing, or not maybe a little bit different than what I'd done, but they've had their own detoxing as well.
Mm-hmm.
And as it occurs, they have a whole nother level of mental clarity and peace on the other side of it. The word want produces a feeling of frustration,
Mm-hmm.
and frustration is toxic to the system. And we can simply put in an order and have the universe fill our order when we have our thoughts, our words, and our feelings aligned.
Mhm.
So
That is so good. I choose to have my thoughts, words, and feelings aligned.
you have taken the basics. I love having my thoughts, words, and feelings aligned.
I love or wow, I love that my thoughts, feelings, and what was it? Words are
Words
aligned now.
are aligned. I love having my thoughts, feelings, and words aligned. I feel so much ease in alignment.
That's a good one. I feel so much ease and alignment.
Otherwise, we're saying we want one thing, we're manifesting another, and whatever that schism is between what we say whatever we say we're committed to and what we're actually producing in our life, that schism produces a lot of living in a schism has a lot of stress associated with it.
Isn't that interesting how we've been trained and taught to use some words that literally produce the opposite result of what we're trying to say?
We had best confuse their language, for there is not anything they cannot do.
Right?
Right. The
Wow.
the virus of Babel, right?
Yeah,
And um, this virus language keeps a person in a state of dis-ease, just like a virus does in the system, right?
good.
So there's a virus language that has taken over the person's consciousness, and it speaks through them, and the person believes they are that language, or they are that frustration, they are that I am not persona.
Mhm.
And that virus is just like a virus on a computer. It comes in and it starts taking up the RAM of the individual. Um, they have it'll burn out their noggin. You'll see people who get older and they their mind doesn't function as well as before, but it's
Mhm.
because they've been living in such a high state of anxiety. It's burning everything out. Just like you're running a computer with a virus in it, it screws up all the memory, right? It takes over all the RAM.
Oh,
So
yeah.
basically, and it talks about the truth sets you free, scriptures.
Mhm.
So basically, when we start to speak only truth, only what we choose to have come into being, and only truth, truth begins to produce an antiviral programming in the system and starts to pass out this language of confusion that's keeping the operating system confused as a God, a child of God. And when it starts to push all this stuff out, the person begins to speak this way naturally. When they begin to really feel every word, really feel, slow down and feel every word they speak, they begin to speak consciously. But they have to slow down so they can feel their feelings as they speak. Most
So
people talk so fast, so fast.
so true. It's I have noticed that I see it in others before I see it in myself. Is that normal?
You know, congratulations.
Is
Yeah,
that one part of the test?
yeah, congratulations. One of the classes took was there's a book out called Language and the Pursuit of Happiness by Chalmers Brothers.
Mhm.
And it talks about you got exposed to it and the basics about doing grounded assessments, right?
Mhm. Right.
So I studied with this guy for about a year and a half. And he had me do grounded assessments, and he goes, "Hey, do 3 positive and 3 negative grounded assessments about somebody other than yourself." And it would take me about an hour to do it, and I was arguing with him. I said, "Let me do them about myself, because it'd be way easier than me doing about other people." He goes, "Just do them like the way I'm telling you." He taught like a master. He didn't tell me why he was doing things. He just would sit there and snicker. So he, I did them about other people and got where I was proficient at doing them. And I said, "Man, I'm getting really proficient." And he goes, "Keep doing them." And he had me do them until I did them in my dreams.
Oh my
So I
gosh.
was, so I would say something in my dreams and I would correct it in my dream state.
Wow.
And one day I was like, "Say, dude," I said, "how much longer? I'm doing these things in my dream." He goes, "Oh, yes, I know. That's the perfect time. I've been waiting for you to do this." I was like, "Dude, you." He goes, "Now." You know, he goes, now do them about yourself. Started doing them about myself, back up to an hour to do them. And I went, what the heck just happened? And he said, the lies you tell about yourself are way more pervasive than the lies you tell about other people.
Wow.
And I just went, oh my gosh, he's right. He was so right. And so I
Mm.
had to do them about myself until I could do them. And I still do grounded assessments in my sleep. I dream in them.
Wow.
Hmm.
That's amazing. I'm wondering, if when I become more proficient like you are
Hmm.
at using conscious language, is that going to cut into my sarcasm? Oh no, not my gift of sarcasm. I don't want that to leave.
Are you ready for this
I
one?
choose I choose to
Ha-
keep my gift of sarcasm.
how about wit?
Okay, wait.
Cool. The word sarcasm comes from the Greek word sark, and it means a tearing of
Oh
flesh.
no, I don't. Okay, you're
Hang on, slow down. You said you gave me open, and
I
it's a
did.
yeah, and it's a sign of suppressed anger and resentment.
Oh, okay. So
And
I have some lie busting to work on then.
yeah, yeah, and yeah, I worked with a chiropractor who was really really sarcastic, and one day yeah, he was getting where I didn't. I was like, I'm gonna switch chiropractors because this guy was so sarcastic. It was
Oh,
uncomfortable to be around.
oh, that's known. I don't like that.
And so I was with one day I said, if he does it another time around me, I'm gonna call him on it. And he did it, and I called him on it. Said, hey, you know what this is about? This is just suppressed anger, resentment. And he just looked at me, just started crying. He goes, can you help me with this?
Oh,
I mean, just so tender, and here he was making all these sarcastic jokes because he had so much stuff this time he had to make fun of it, and his wife was her kidneys were failing. She had had a kidney transplant, and the transplanted kidneys were failing. She didn't want to get out of bed, and he was losing his wife, and he
mm,
was going through all that pain, and he had a lot of stuff around his dad, and so we worked together for a while, and his wife got healed as well when he started working on himself. She changed her whole perspective on life, and he's a whole different person.
mm,
But it
brilliant.
was I was a little terrified to ask to call him on it.
Mm.
I did. I was like, well, here's what I see, buddy. And he just, oh my gosh, thank you.
Well,
Wow.
I choose to use a more appropriate word then because you were right. It's wit. Because
Well,
I choose not to be, cutting and that,
yeah,
I don't, it's
I
not my,
love quick wit.
yeah.
Yeah, it's fun, playful.
Yeah, I choose playful. Yep.
Yeah. And then when you do it that way, then you're going to start to notice a feeling between if you do sarcasm or you just do quick wit. It's a way different feeling.
Okay. I see that. Sometimes that quick wit, that quick thought is though it's like the opposite because that's what makes it funny,
Hmm.
you know? So in that case, I'm not being truthful
Hmm.
because I'm being opposite. But you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Do you
I
understand
hear
what
you.
I'm
And your statement is I'm not being. See, that's I am not speaking.
Oh, okay.
See,
You're good, Mark. You're
thank
good.
you, thank you. I mean, I've been doing the version of this for 15 years,
Yeah.
and the not piece is what we found was so. It goes back to the story of Adam and Eve, believing they weren't God, they were separate from God,
Mm,
and they ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, right and wrong, and they fell from grace, became embarrassed,
mhm,
and they tried to be good enough to get back to God. And if your heart's beating, God's already in you. God's beating your heart. You're not. I'm not the one beating my own heart. I may use not as a comparison. I'm not the one beating my heart. God's beating my heart.
mhm.
So,
That's good.
I don't like chocolate. I do like vanilla. If you use that as a comparison, you're closing the loop. If I'm speaking it as a fact, and letting it hang there, then that's creating I'm creating what I don't want in life.
Okay, so what you just said, let me just frame that up. I don't like chocolate. I do like vanilla. Closes the loop.
Loop.
And
Yeah.
so therefore it's okay to use the one as long as you balance it with the other. But if
Yeah,
you just
you're making a conscious choice of what you do choose.
okay.
Always speak what you choose.
God, always speak what you choose.
Yeah,
That
that's it.
that makes sense.
And
Yes.
if you can get rid of the word want and need and try and don't and all those things, and just start, if you just start speaking love. I love my husband's smile.
Hmm.
For the women who are watching this or whatever, I love seeing my partner smile. I love seeing his cheeks get rosy when he smiles. I love hearing my children laugh and giggle.
I like that. That's really good.
And to see it produces a picture.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just I love seeing my children happy. There's no picture with that. I love seeing my children laugh and giggle.
Okay, so make sure that you produce an image of it in your mind, in your imagination.
Mhm. Or really what I'm doing is I'm seeing it already, and then I'm just agreeing with what I'm seeing rather than trying to create the vision in my mind.
Oh, okay.
What do I love? If I sit here and go, I really, really love and feel the words I really, really love, an image will show up without me conjuring it or forcing it. And then for me to agree with it, I just speak what I see, and my body goes, yes. And that becomes an embodiment process.
I love that.
I used to try to conjure, and the things I would manifest would be like money or boat or whatever. And I did those things. And when I would get them, I was still in the same state of want and I wasn't happy. It was like, okay, I just did that. Now what? Because all those things were me conjuring a result that I thought was going to make me happy, and the other one's coming from already really loving.
Explain that a little bit more.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Okay. So I'm not going to want it to boat. I wanted a boat. So I got a 40-foot sailboat, and it was cool and it was fun. However, still didn't fill that hole inside me. It was still, I went, okay, now what? Okay, that was nice. X amount of dollars in the bank. Okay, I got that. Now what? But if I say I really, really love, then it's going to be at a frequency of me already feeling complete and loving my manifestation before I ever even see it. My love is a ticket for me to see it, not this thing is a ticket for me to love.
That's a good way to put it. Love it.
Thank you, ma'am.
So I want to finish the thought though, because I missed writing it down. Conjuring a result versus feeling,
Seeing it.
seeing. Okay.
Yeah, actually seeing it, and
Okay.
then conveying the vision into language. Because if you have a belief system, you've heard about limiting belief systems and all those things.
Mm-hmm.
The belief system won't let you speak it.
Mm-hmm.
The person will speak in a way and they'll have a really tough time being able to put it in a way where other people around them can see it as well. You have to convey it, speak it in such a way where it's clear. Like when I said, hey, this is the ticket to the being to see the movie at this frequency, that produces a picture inside you. Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you like, I see smiles on my children's faces and their cheeks are rosy red and they got little sparkly eyes and squinty eyes, and they walk up and say, hey, I love you, mommy. That's a
Mm-hmm.
picture. If I say, oh, I see my children, they're really appreciating me. What does that mean? You've got to be able to see the picture, convey the picture, speak it into words. Your body hears it. Your subconscious takes directions of that. You agree with the vision, and then you give your subconscious permission to bring it forward for you.
That's good. It's really
Thank
good.
you. And
Yeah.
then the biggest thing I've learned over the last how many years is don't wait for the vision to come into existence. Ask yourself, what characteristics do I have in this new vision, and become the character in that vision.
Okay, so you just did both sides of the loop.
Yeah,
Don't wait for it to come,
right.
and what you should do instead.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ask yourself, what characteristics do I have in this new life? You
Yeah.
have to have that new life, you have to become brand new. The Apostle Paul says, make yourself anew in each and every day. So
Mm-hmm.
this is all throughout scriptures.
Mm-hmm.
Christ gave thanks for the miracles he had not yet performed, for he knew they would be there. So when somebody sees the picture of their children, maybe healed or happy, or maybe their husband who hasn't spoken to them with love in years, right? And they hear their husband say, "Wow, honey, you've changed so much. I really, really love you. So grateful you changed." That's going to bring emotion to the person's seeing and hearing that vision.
Mm-hmm.
But if they wait for their husband to go, "Well, why have you told me this?" Blah 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 blah. I mean, that ain't going to work. You're going to still produce the same stuff again and again and again.
Mm-hmm.
You interview the person in your vision and go, "So you've noticed changes in me. Cool. What changes do you most like about me?" "Oh, honey, you're so playful." "Oh, playful. Oh, I like playful too." I'll write down playful. "And how do you mean by I'm playful?" "Well, you used to get really pissy and yell and scream, and now you just laugh and chuckle, and we have fun in areas of kerfluffle." "Oh, fun right in the middle of kerfluffle." I mean,
Yeah.
what does that build? Major trust in relationships. If you can sit and talk about anything, man, that builds trust. It's
Yeah.
when you it's when you have a kerfluffle and everybody shuts down and holds that energy in. Sucks.
Right. That's so
I,
good.
I studied with Joseph Grenny, and he wrote a book called Crucial Conversation, Crucial Confrontations, and The Influencer. Took classes on all of those.
Crucial
And
conversation and crucial
crucial,
confrontation.
yeah, Crucial Conversations, Crucial Confrontations, and another book he wrote was called The Influencer. We did the classes with him on those books. Um, and they studied couples from when they started dating to over a period of 20 or 30 years or something. They studied them, and they just were doing surveys with how these people, did they stay together? Did they, they get divorced? Just study them, and was asking questions and noticing their behaviors. And the number one things the couples who stayed together had was, it wasn't what they did in common. It wasn't how much money they had. It wasn't any of those things or how great their sex life was. It was one thing, and that one thing was what did they do in the area of a confrontation?
Mm.
How did they handle something if it went off? And they said the people who couldn't talk about that, those things they held in, became like little nails in a coffin. And after a while, there was no life left in their relationship, and they
Wow.
divorced, or they were in a. And I've done this in my relationships too, where we're laying in bed with my wife, and it's like there's a 30-foot thick, 10-foot high wall between us. Sucked. So it's really, we met Michelle, and
Hmm.
whatever comes up, whatever comes up, we sit down and we have a conversation around it. Most of the time, we laugh ourselves through it. First time I've been in a relationship like this, and our relationship and our trust of what we do together, and how her kids are responding to what we're doing, it's changed everything. And we do this with couples again and again and again, and
Hmm.
their dogs, like their pets even get better, and all their kids, and I mean, so amazing.
That is so good. Yeah.
Trust is huge.
So, so all of that is within the one-on-one coaching. And I mean, I learned some of it in the basics. Is there another,
Now,
is that how to wow as well?
yeah,
In that?
I do very little one-on-one coaching,
Okay.
very little. Most everything I do um, is through classes. I lead How to Wow.
Mhm.
It's really from How to Wow.
Okay.
Um, if people like they like to have most people will, even like couples, they would agree on they like to have a marriage where they have love in it and playfulness and respect or whatever. Like most people, they can agree upon the mental concepts of these things. However, there's no picture. There's no picture for them.
Uh-huh.
So what we do here is we take it out of the how and give it, and they go from instead of here's a linear approach to it, we give them they get into the feeling of it, and then they get to see the picture of it. Once they see the picture of it, the pain they're living in begins to acquiesce to their new vision of playfulness and love. Until you get something that's clear enough, a message that's clear enough, the pain will stay in place until they can see something and believe it's going to happen for them. And then
Mm.
once they do, they can live it. They got to see it. They got to be able to
That
see.
that's so true. I mean, even when we're working with clients, they have to know that the solution you bring is true for them.
Hmm.
We can tell testimonies all day long about the amazing things that, happen with my clients when I work with them, but if the potential, the candidate or whatever doesn't believe that it would work for them,
Doesn't work for them.
it won't work for them.
Hmm.
Right. That's so good. So, what else do you do in how to, it's from how to wow
From
is
How to Wow, we call
from
it
how
How
to
to
wow.
Wow, but it
Yeah.
really is from How to Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we do this How to Wow. It's a way to produce breakthrough results in a matter of seconds. So if you have a project, most people have like great ideas, maybe starting a business or something, and they go, I don't know how to do this. I've gotten stuck in those ruts for decades. Painful place to live. A lot of stress in that environment. And there's also a lot of either or conversations. You know,
Mm.
I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to either do this, or I'm going to do this, and you're kind of walking, kind of going through life aimlessly, and getting slapped, and the person has yet to stay in an energy field long enough for that field to manifest for them. So they're constantly shifting ground, shifting ground, shifting ground. How to Wow is a way to put your stake in the ground and have the universe congeal around your new stake.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
And also, it increases emotional intelligence by a lot, as well as intuition. Intuition goes way, way, way up.
That's good.
Most people claim their intuition is up 20 to 30x after How to Wow.
Wow.
We had a guy his wife's in our coaching curriculum, and her husband her husband has severe mental decline. He couldn't put his belt through his belt loops. Couldn't write his name. Hadn't been able to write his name in 2 or 3 years. Hadn't been able to read in several years.
Wow.
I'd ask him the first time I met him. I'd ask him a question. He would sit there and just cry. Couldn't answer a question. He would just go, I don't know, and just cry. He came to How to Wow, and his cognitive abilities went up 20%. We measured them before. We had a doctor measure his cognitive ability before the class and after the class,
Hey
and
there,
they went up
SCB
20%
peeps.
during the
I
3 day
want to
class.
give a huge
Wow,
shout
that's
out and deep
amazing.
appreciation
And
and
now
thanks to
he's putting his
Candace
belt through his
Benton.
past.
She has
He's
become a
actually writing a
super
book,
sponsor
and
for the Spirit
all
Centered
this
Business
occurred in
Show.
8 weeks.
So I would
Just
appreciate you
amazing.
helping
I
me
Wow.
in
mean,
sending
and
blessings and abundance back
he's
to
so
her.
precious.
Thank you so much,
I mean, he's
Candace,
just
and
so,
you are
and
well loved.
he didn't really believe.
Thank you for
He had
listening to
hope. I
Spirit
said, dude,
Centered Business
will you
with
just
Bralynn
do what I'm
Newby.
asking you to
Be
do?
sure to like,
He said, yes.
subscribe,
Well,
and
We'll
share
get
with your
along fine
friends.
then.
The next stage
yeah,
of
that's
doing
like the
business by
basic.
being
A
spirit
person has to
centered
be
is
willing
coming
to
together in
do
collaboration,
what you're
working with
instructing them
spiritual
to
principles
do
and knowing our
and have the
destiny.
hope enough
Join our tribe at
to
spiritcenteredbusiness.com, and we'll
Just a
catch
little
you on the
bit.
next
Just a
broadcast.
little bit.
Peace out.
right,
And just start taking actions.
right. So
And
good.
most people especially when we get to some of the deeper courses here, it starts getting really, really intense. And I said, there's something on the other side of this. And like, if they have to give up this really deep entrenched shame and guilt. And one of the exercises we do in How to Wow it's really fun, but people have they're terrified to like really express themselves and be playful. Like all this shame comes up. So I said, hey, whatever just came up in this little exercise here, it's the same thing that's keeping you from your success.
Do you think that's because people have tied their identity to the belief system and the stories? Okay, yeah,
Ma'am.
yeah.
And it goes
I
back to
understand that. I run across that in my clients a lot and in myself as I'm on my healing journey as well.
and it goes back to Adam and Eve. Ate from
Yeah.
the tree of knowledge of good and evil, right and wrong, and they got they believed they were separate from God. Well, that's shame.
Mm.
And so that shame is so entrenched. And it's been our DNA for millennia. How many generations since Adam and Eve? Choose a
Yeah.
no. I mean, I use the choose a no thing a lot. A
Use that
lot,
choose to know thing.
a
Yeah. It's
lot.
like,
I mean, a bunch of them.
to me, it comes to me. I choose to receive it. How about that?
Yeah, I loved. I mean, how many generations since Adam and Eve, man? Whew. And so
Yeah.
all those pass downs, all those genetic pass downs, again and again and again. So people may have a knowledge that we're all one, but if it's just stuck in their head,
Right.
it has to become alive inside them. And when it does, that's where that initial lie, as it begins to, that initial truth as it begins to live inside, begins to reverse all the lies that the lineage and the person has made up on top of this initial lie, the initial sin of believing they were separate from God.
Yeah. So some of the ways that I've discovered that, and I would imagine that your process does this too, is it's not only compounded in the generational line, but then there's additional open doors of access that the enemy has to pile on other things as well.
Yeah.
So it's not only compounded, it's almost like exponentially compounded.
Yeah. Like a virus replicating again and again and again inside the computer.
Not only replicating, but then adding to it too. Ooh,
Yep.
another injection, and ooh, another injection, and yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then there comes a point where all they can see and believe is lies, and which is kind of going on right now.
Exactly. So but your process just cuts through all of that, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So my question then is, since I usually work multidimensionally in body, soul, and spirit, usually we start with soul and we involve spirit and then we instruct body. So how does yours work?
We will work with truth, which is God.
So spirit well, no, because you work with feelings too, so that's body.
But
And
the
then
feeling, most people make their feelings wrong. Like I like these feelings, I don't like these. So that's in that duality place.
okay.
So our feelings, if when we can just be with them, there's going to be like a whole encyclopedia of information inside the feelings.
Mhm.
And our feelings are the way that God communicates to us. Most people, our natural state is enthusiasm. The word comes from the Greek word entheos, meaning with God.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, dude, I got some anger up today. Instead of, oh, I'm having such a tough day. I'm so pissed about right, all that stuff, right? A whole different, bring enthusiasm to your feelings so you can get the message in it.
Interesting. Oh, okay.
Because I call it spiritual poo. In other words, like holy, you know?
Yeah,
They,
exactly.
so, and I said, well, that must have come together for a reason. And inside all that inside all that poo, which is great
Mhm.
fertilizer for, by the way, for your next life,
For your hopes and dreams.
Yep. But there's also gold nuggets inside there. If you can stay with it, then you'll find gold nugget. And the bigger the poo, the bigger the nugget.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it takes all that right wrong out of the feeling a certain way. But it's a lot of people will go around and go, I am mad. I'm really angry. No, you're not an I am mad or an I am angry. You're an I am love. You're an I am truth. You're an I am light. I am life. We're children of God. So everything, the truth, love, light, and all those things we are as well.
Mhm.
And you may be feeling anger, you may be feeling jealousy, but you're feeling it. See, if you say I am that, that's a lie. And most people speak that lie to themselves.
Oh, I get it. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And
Wow.
then once they speak it, where it's a feeling rather than a state of being, it's easy to shift. Oh, yeah, I'm feeling a little pissed right now. Well, great. That's awesome. What do you mean? Well, if you weren't feeling, you'd be dead.
Right.
So feelings are wonderful.
Yeah, yeah, that's good.
And and
Yeah.
see, and see how you're chuckling about all this stuff, but most modalities, so this takes 400 to 600 repetition to create a pattern shift. And they said if you can do stuff with humor, it only takes 10 to 20. So we do in class, we get people laughing about it. Once we get people laughing, it's over. It
Ah,
shifts it shifts really, really quickly. And I'm a little conceited. So I think I'm really, really funny, and I believe I can do it in 3.
right on. All right, well, demonstrate because I have a lot of stuff that you could clear up in three,
Yeah, yeah,
probably 3 seconds. I don't know, 3 minutes, whatever.
maybe. Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, what should we do?
Where do we go
Tell
from
me.
here? So you're what
Well,
are
we
your
just we just have a little bit left of this segment one. So if we want to save something like that for segment two, that's fine.
cool, awesome,
Yeah.
cool.
So do you want to just wrap this up and then
Yeah, we
we'll
can do that.
okay.
The wrap up. What do you choose to do here on the wrap up? But we spoke about this before about just speaking what you love. It makes a huge, huge difference.
Hmm.
And the other thing I spoke about on your previous podcast too was if you could take snapshots, mental snapshots of what you love, and have those on deck before you ever tell somebody you love them. I really, really love you. I really, really appreciate you. If you're gonna give somebody a compliment, I was working with a lady today who gave me a compliment, and there was nothing behind it. I said, "So what do you mean you appreciate me for what?" It was all empty. I said, "Girl, you just wasted your breath."
Wow. Yeah, that's true.
I really appreciate you for what?" Uh, and no feeling involved with that. It was all empty and meaningless. They just said it to be right. It was the right thing to say.
Yeah.
Really, really appreciate you. And so if you ask me, Mark, what do you appreciate about me? I'll answer your question.
Hmm.
So ask me, what do you appreciate about me?
So Mark, what do you appreciate about me?
I'm glad you asked. Thank you. I love, I love your smile. You have a contagious smile. Your laugh is adorable. I love
Awesome.
the. You're welcome. I love your hair. By the way, your hair is like so out of context of how if I was just listening to your voice, I wouldn't picture you with this hair. I love the boldness in your hair color.
Are you saying my voice is not bold?
No, I'm just saying it's different than what you're. If I was listening to you, like you feel more conservative in the way you speak,
Oh,
and this is like a little edgy. I love that little edginess that you're displaying.
all right on.
Cool.
Thank you so much for appreciating those things, Mark. I appreciate you as well. I appreciate your brilliance. I really just think you're so smart because you've done the research that it takes and you put it into a context that people can understand. And not only that, but it really changes lives. And I so appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Of course. All right,
You're
now that we've done our truth of grounding what is the grounding assumptions? Is that what we did?
Assessments.
We're grounding assessments? Yeah, not
Mhm,
just appreciate, but what is the grounding of that,
mhm.
right? Is that what we did?
Can. We can get into the 6 speech acts, but that's kind of like boring.
Yeah.
Mm,
Here's what I want to do. I just want to encourage people to go ahead and jump into the next basics course because it really opens your eyes to getting these principles into you and seeing where you're not operating in them. Because having this conversation, listening to this podcast and listening to Mark and I talk about it is different than really putting it back onto yourself and saying, okay, wow, where do I do this? And so going through that basics class, and especially if you take it with Michelle, she was really good at literally drilling down to what's
um,
going on in your language and how it can shift so that your your MO is going to change. Operas motor, you know what I'm saying.
modus operandi.
Yeah, there you go. Your whole operating system can change if you shift your language. And so if you go to encompasslife.com, Mark, do you have a basics coming up, or when is the
Yeah,
next
we
you have
next basics is November 27th.
Okay.
And we have one starting in the mornings and also in the evenings that's during that day as well. That's where we're
Okay.
running 2 of them concurrently. We have How to Wow from How to Wow coming up December 8th through the 10th in Ocala,
Mhm.
Florida. And if you email me about, I'll have time to create a coupon code. What are your initials that you have for your broadcast?
SCB, Spirit Centered Business,
Let's
SCB.
do SCB 15, and we'll give you 15% off the class.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you, Mark. I
And that way
appreciate
we'll let you know what's coming on, and we can help track and everything. So,
it. Sure. We'll
um,
definitely put that in the show notes. For those of you who are just listening to the podcast or driving right now, go back to wherever you're enjoying the show, and it will be in the show notes. Or if you miss it, it's always on spiritcenteredbusiness.com because that promo code I will definitely put in there.
yeah, if you'd like to see a really cool digital business card, if you text my name, Mark, to 321-421-5213, it will bring up they'll get you a link, and then when you click the link, it has a really cool business card with all kind of videos and ways to contact me as well.
So we're texting the word Mark
So
to
321-421-5213.
321-421-5213. 5213. 321-421-5213. Text the word Mark, and
It'll
that's
send you a link, and then you'll click on that and get a really interesting business card.
all right. Well, thank you
Cool.
so much. And all of that will be in the show notes too. Audience, I don't expect you to memorize it. You can click on it or you'll see it in writing. Okay. Well, is there any other gold nuggets or anything else that you'd like to wrap this segment up with before we jump off?
No, let's roll to the next.
All right, let's do
Thank
it.
you.
All right, you guys, encompasslife.com. And if you did, I should have said this at the beginning, but if you did miss the first time Mark was on the show, go ahead and go to spiritcenteredbusiness.com. And you can always just go to the podcast page and search actually by his last name, because there is no other person with this last name on the show that I know of. There might be another Mark. So Scherer is SCHERER.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. We'll talk to you guys later. Until next time, stay spirit centered. Peace out.
Thank you.
Hey there, SCB peeps. I want to give a huge shout out and deep appreciation and thanks to Candace Benton. She has become a super sponsor for the Spirit Centered Business Show. So I would appreciate you helping me in sending blessings and abundance back to her. Thank you so much, Candace, and you are well loved.
Thank you for listening to Spirit Centered Business with Bralynn Newby. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. The next stage of doing business by being spirit-centered is coming together in collaboration, working with spiritual principles and knowing our destiny. Join our tribe at spiritcenteredbusiness.com, and we'll catch you on the next broadcast. Peace out.